Is that going to be an issue? Where that's at? I don't know. All right. I'll give some people a little bit more time here to get in, and we should be good. I wonder if that even started at the start. OBS is so weird sometimes. But it says we're live now, so hopefully we're good. We'll give some people some time to get in here. If you haven't joined Discord, definitely join my Discord. Hang out, ask questions, find out some new stuff. Hopefully, it's the goal. Yeah, hopefully we're good. That was weird with the stream. I don't know. What's up, Alex? Everything sound okay? I've been talking to myself here for a moment, and I don't think I was live at the start. OBS was being weird. But yeah, we're gonna take a look. Okay, sounds good. Awesome. Take a look at some of the new stuff in 22. Draw after 30 journey. What's up? Are you learning to draw? Go ahead and transition over here. Well, let me pull up the cops. I'm gonna start with cop stuff. Old name, okay. Trying to figure out the best layout here. How I want to do things. All right. So I'm gonna just drop down a stop create. That way, if we create anything, we can bring it into our stopnet if we need to. All right, so I'm gonna start off, I guess, look at some of the new stuff in Copernicus. So there's lots of grunges. We have looked a little bit at adjacency. So let's maybe do more with the adjacency stuff. Yeah, Houdini 22 Apprentice should be available. So there's all these new test geometries in here, which are pretty nice. Glad that we have these directly in here. Make it super easy for the Geo2 adjacency to work with. So I did cover this in a video, but this is kind of the initial setup here. You do have to do it with a 3D fractal. So you have to have an input position, which is where these attribute sample with adjacency comes in. And then we can wire this into this position. So if you haven't seen this video, let's start off there. So we've got these fractal noise and any of these noises that have, I don't even know which ones all have the, I guess it's only the 3D ones that have the positions. So, or like curl noise. This is a new one. Interesting. So we can preview this on our geometry by using this little button right here. And then as long as you're over your network view, if you press X, you can go between these views, which is super nice. So there's a couple of other ones. I haven't really played with the, which one? The distort with adjacency. So maybe we'll take a look at that one. You can still create terrains with another method or with the old stuff. So in SOPs, there's still all the height field stuff. So you still have your height field, all the different height field options, but you do have them in COPS as well. Found the ML stuff pretty useful, actually. Mono depth, for example, depth anything 3 would be nice to have. Not sure if you can add this by yourself. I haven't looked at those at all, actually. Mono. Is the, I guess it's probably the neural stuff, isn't it? I haven't looked at any of that stuff. Neural layer to depth. You have to like download these models, right? Height fields have not been completely moved to cops. They're like kind of in the process, I guess, of getting everything in there, but you can, it's like workable now. You do want to, so we talked about this, we kind of covered this in the initial live stream. So you can do height fields a couple of different ways. I guess since people are asking about that, we'll jump to that. So there's this height field node, which does basically nothing other than creates a layer and set its type info to height. And then you need like a height field transform 3D. And we can wire this in here. And then we can set this to -90 and then scale it by 500. And then you can do like a height field noise, which is just a fractal noise that's got the settings set up. Like all these amplitudes and everything are set up to be the size of a normal height field that you would expect. So this does this, but if you don't want to do that, because you're going to have to wire in the stuff into the size reference frequently. So you can do the height field copnet. And then that just changes some settings on here. So it sets the default border to clamp. And then we've got these new settings on the copnet, which is this canvas size. So it sets it to this image from plane or from image plane and then to be on the ZX plane with a uniform scale of 500. So essentially, if we did the same thing here, if I just disconnect this, if we came into our canvas here, set this to image plane and set this to ZX and then set the uniform scale to 500, we would have the same thing, right? So now we have, if I just copy over, I didn't change any settings, but we copy these over so I can switch between them and you can see that they got the exact same thing. So either one really works, but you can set it up, different ways depending on what you want to do. So let's just uncheck that. Painting textures in cops. Yes, there is the new texture paints, which you can do some cool stuff with. We can take a look at that here in a minute. Let's look at this adjacency distort though real quick. So got this curl noise. Oh, you can turn it into a vector VDB. I guess if we uncheck or undo that, what error is this giving us? So, okay, this is something new too. I guess a couple of things here. This and node info panel, if you got multiple GPUs, this is kind of a problem. You just kind of got to keep refreshing it and hope to get it to not bug out. But they're aware of that and they're going to get that fixed. But yeah, size reference missing. All right, we'll look at that later maybe. So we need our adjacency actually from here. And then we need a noise. Let's not do let's do like a fractal noise. And then UV. What's the difference between cops and the other old method, which is better to do train generation in? It's personal preference, I think, but you're probably going to have a little bit quicker of a workflow. Like, okay, so we've got the height field terrain stuff. So if we have the erosion, the height field erode node. So we've got this in cops now. You can dive inside and you can see what it does. But it brings it into cops even in here. So this has been updated and you can see that it works through copnets now. So it's all kind of coming to cops anyways. So, I mean, it's kind of your your choice, but cops works pretty well. I've found it to work pretty well, and it's a lot easier. It seems a lot easier to get better um, erosion out of 22. I don't know if they really changed anything, or that's just me, but it seems to be a little bit better, a little bit easier to get better erosion, better looking erosion. Yeah, it's a nicer visual workflow in cops. And then on top of that, like you've got a lot of different things that you can do inside of cops. You can do some advection and stuff directly inside of cops, which is kind of cool. High field and cops give more control. And new con high field nodes are so good. Yeah, the new high field nodes are awesome. Let me preview our model here. Is there a hotkey for this, the 3D output? Alex, do you know if there's a hotkey to set that flag? All right, so let me actually increase our amplitude here. Can't recall. Yeah, I assume that there probably is. I could look through the stuff. So this is, I assume, very similar to the actual distort node. Seems to be working in some cases, but maybe not the best. Actually, we probably need to do some sort of, well, I wouldn't think that we would need to do any adjacency stuff with this. But maybe if we give it a, because we're getting our seam there. What's up, Kieran? Well, X switches between the 2D and the 3D view, but I meant like to, like, you know how we press R to switch to like this display flag? I wonder if there's a, I guess we can just look for it. Also, in your preferences, I was talking about this node info panel. You can customize the theme for that as well. So if I open this up, you can change it to something else. You can see there it applies. I shouldn't have done that, I guess. I should have set it back. Which is kind of cool. It doesn't seem to apply to mplay. I guess mplay is a separate like software program, so it doesn't apply to that. We were gonna look at the hotkeys though. Let's see, that would be in the network editor. I don't even know. I don't ever go in here. Panes. Network editor. Slow. Let's see. It's not in like 3D. T's the hotkey. Whoops. I guess I should have just tried that. All right, well, good to know. I got to try to remember that now. All right, so let's set this to UV, and let's see if this gives us any better distortion here. So still no. I wonder... I wonder why that is. Yeah, I figured those were, well, I know those are the hotkeys, the flag hotkeys. How would cops be effective for an effects artist? You mainly work in Flip. I mean, they've got pyro now in cops. And actually, you can, if I look at this real quick, since you asked, there's these new attribute nodes. So we can do like an attribute insert. And then we can wire in like a fractal noise. Let's do the 3D one. And if we set this to like V. What are you not liking? Oh, mono to float. Yeah, sorry. RGB. I thought we could do this. I thought it was attribute. Did I do attribute from layer? No, I didn't. Right? No. Well, you're supposed to be able to do this. Why am I drawing a blank? I did this before. Float attribute. Maybe it's not the attribute insert. Geometry attribute from layer. Sorry, it's this one. There we go. Geometry attribute from layer. There we go. And now, like you've got the. Oh, here if I. Well, no. Let me just set our. Yeah, our visualizer to. Why is that not popping up? Oh, because I probably have to hit this, don't I? Our velocity. Maybe, if it's going to let me. There we go. There we go. Didn't want to let me. It's hard because I've got those multiple GPUs. It doesn't want to work properly with that node info panel, and it's very hard to tell if you've got anything like set. So we want a tag and then, or sorry, a marker and then a vector. And if we look at this, there we go. So then you can set velocities and stuff from inside of here, which is kind of interesting. I'm looking to do some stuff with that. Try to find X and I'll show the group of parameters. I think you were talking about the hotkey. Why did they add it? Sorry, lots of new questions. Lots of questions coming here. The old way to generate trains works well. Why did they add the new method? I think it's because it's quicker and it's a little bit more of a visual way. Cops works. There's a lot of different things you can do with cops, I guess. And it's going to be faster because everything's through OpenCL. They fixed that UV line issue. Yeah, I'm assuming you're referring to these UV lines. That's what I'm looking at. So yes, you can use adjacency to wire into your fractal noise, but we're looking at the adjacency distort, and it seems like it's not working that well. Pyro become 3D in cops if you add third dimensions to source. Yes, well, you don't even have to. It is just three-dimensional. You can rasterize it down to a 2D like terrain or a 2D flame or whatever. Baking non-square textures is a pain. I'm going to be honest, I haven't really tried to do that. All right, so adjacency distort. It seems to work well here. I'm curious at why we have such a harsh seam on these edges. I wonder if we wire in like a pig head or something else, how those will look. So I think we would have seams here, which we still kind of do. It's really pushed. I guess we have already really pushed it, huh? So it seems to work kind of well in some cases, but I forget what the UVs for this look like. Oh, can we not look at the UVs? Interesting. I figured we'd be able to look at the UVs through that. Let's jump up. Yeah, the arms are just kind of all over the place. I'm surprised it doesn't work well with that, though. It's interesting. Yeah. So we've also got the extrapolate boundaries, which kind of does something similar to this. So we are going to need, I think, do an unpack. Or sorry, no, this is not extrapolate boundaries. Extrapolate with adjacency. So with this, we should be able to take 2D noises and kind of get them to work here. At least is the thought. I need to space transform your direction. Are you talking about for the adjacency distort? This thing? What's up, Fractler? I haven't looked at what is this even. All right. I wasn't really sure what this does. Transform a vector from world space into change space. Send me a screenshot. All right. I'm assuming we take this and wire it into here. No idea. Know the direction input for the distort? We wire what? Wire this into here? Is that what you're saying? You've lost me. My mouse needs to work properly. Then put the cores of your fractal noise and make the fractal noise 3D and RGB texture. Oh, okay. Put this into like the position is what you're saying? No? Make this RGB. I'm confused. You got me lost, Alex. Buzzer noise. And then what? We plug this into our source? I am confused. Other way around. Fractal noise 3D goes into chord space. Oh, okay. So this into here. And then I feel like this made it worse. Fractal noise 3D goes into chord space. Okay. On space transform, and the output that goes into the direction on the distort. I am lost here. Oh, I still need the right. There. Attribute sample. I don't know, man. Is this how it's supposed to be? Maybe this is just bad texture for it. Well, it works on your end. Well, it's not working for me. World of tangent. Huh. Well, now I want it to work. I feel like that's weird. I feel like this is a weird setup. Try the curl noise 3D instead of frac noise. Driving with my coordinate. What's up, Malin? All right, curl noise. The curl noise 3D? Or wait, there is no curl noise, just curl. Yeah, curl noise 3D. I'm blind. Oops. I don't know, dude. This seems to be getting worse, Alex. Is it just the texture? I don't know. Well, we're trying to figure out how this attribute adjacency or this adjacency distort is supposed to work. And it's seems to be working for Alex, but not for me. Maybe I did something wrong. Definitely not that. I don't know. Are we using the same geo? I don't know. I probably did something wrong here. Although there's not a whole lot of settings to do wrong. We're sampling our position. Oh, I don't get notifications in the Discord. I think I see the problem, Alex. That would be why. I forgot I plugged that up. Okay, this seems to work a lot better. We're gonna pretend like that didn't happen. All right. All right, so this works. Let's go back to our fractal noise. Note to self, use the correct geometry. All right, so this one works. All right, so that's what this adjacency transform is for. I was not sure at all what that was for. Thank you for clearing that up, Alex. Everyone, yeah. All right, hold on. Let's take this and get rid of this crap. And let's go back. Oops. Go back to here. And let's just clean this up a little bit, shall we? All right. All right, and we could use the curl noise too. Cool. The curl noise is super cool. I love this curl noise. Just gives such nice shapes. I wonder. So we could probably. No, never mind. I was gonna say we could do something that we can't do. What other noises are there? Cloud noise, whirly. Let's throw a cloud noise. Actually, let's throw a crystal noise down too. I'm just curious at this point what other ones will look like. You don't think I need the space transform? It wasn't. So you're saying just set this to, well, curl noise doesn't go to a texture, or a UV texture. So we'd have to do this. So you're saying just do this, but we were getting that seam there. So I think we do. Or even with the fractal noise, right? We were getting, what if that's set to UV? It seems to work a lot better. Keep its RGB, get rid of the space transform. Distort takes the... Oh. Well, then what the heck is this supposed to be for? And why... Well, that's not very clear that it takes... Is the regular... I guess the regular one wouldn't. The regular distort. Above your pay grade. Alright. Well, someone needs to tell me who made this. Was it Malmer? Did Malmer make that? Someone needs to tell me what it does other than the docs or what it's used for. I don't even begin to know what that'd be used for. Well, tell them to put an example of what to use this for in the docs, because I'm at a loss. I don't know. You can set it to RGB too. Interesting. Huh. I don't know. That's cool that it doesn't need that though. What do these other ones give us? Wait, I already did that one. Oh, this one doesn't output a... I guess we could do a mono. We don't have a mono to RGB, do we? Or to UV. All right, we'll not do that one. Does this one output a UV? It does. Actually, we can keep that on RGB. I keep forgetting that this works with the RGB direction. This one needs some bigger size maybe, or more distortion. I don't know. Interesting. Strange bug that you encounter. The sphere node's edge component isn't overlapped on geometry. It only happens on NVIDIA-based machines. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying, but I will take your word for it. We're going to stick with what we've been going on. Back to the extrapolate with adjacency. So if we wire in our adjacency here, we should be able to wire in regular 2D textures. I think is the point. Maybe not. Adjacency, extrapolate. Yeah, that takes the cable. I thought that's what this was kind of supposed to do. I guess make sure that fixes. Similar to the extrapolate boundaries, copy faster. All right, maybe not. Because this should... I guess you have to use the fill area on this one. Should be, yeah, the mask input. Ooh, that's interesting. This one gives worse results. I don't even remember how to use this. I thought, man. Yeah, whatever. We'll look at that later. Or I'll explore that later. All right, so we've got, let's skip the reaction diffusion stuff. What was that other one, the FFT transform has for you? Think of it as a layer sample. Okay. All right, well, let's figure out how this works. So I assume we have to feed it something in here. Good luck with this one. Oh, no, that's not providing me much, much hope there, Alex. Oh, it's got a video. All right, that's too much reading. Let's go through. Let's just play with it. Not that there's a lot of parameters to play with. Seems like just a lot of noise. Oh, I didn't. That's what I was gonna say. I thought it looked weird. You're right. What level utility know the computes the Fourier transform an image? Isn't this what you used, Alex, to get the like reaction diffusion style look? Or was that something else? There's so many new nodes. Might be thinking of Laplation. All right. We'll not look at the FFT. Ah. Oh, actually, this is kind of cool. This just applies, isn't this a filter, a Laplation filter? I feel like that's, yeah, widths and heights. What's up, Sebastian? I think I did play with this one a little bit. Doesn't like that one. This is kind of interesting. What's up, Megton? You watch me struggle through trying to make things work. All right, let's see. There's a bunch of other nodes. So there's an align cop, which is going to align things like with your camera, I think. Actually, we could probably, I think we looked at the align pixels, but we didn't look at the align cop itself. Convolve filter. Is that what you want me to look at, or is that what you're saying the Laplation is? Oh, the Laplation uses the FFT? It doesn't look like FFT. File cop into input. Oh, the convolve filter. Oh, gotcha. All right, just watch the UI video, but there's one thing really bugged me. You can't press enter to use the transform handles anymore. Yeah, you can. I don't know what you mean. You can definitely still press enter and get the transform handles. This should be a transform 3D. Yeah, if you're having issues with that, it's probably something that you should report a bug about. So this one should... I did that back. Well, no, I didn't. I thought this would move. Oh, we have none of this set. Yeah, okay. So that's weird that it's set to none by default. Yeah, so this is just going to... I guess it doesn't matter because I haven't changed this. There we go. So change your input layer, and you can set this to be, I don't know, whatever file node. Yeah. Nothing too complex there. Align pixels sounds a little bit more interesting, but I don't think I have anything that's going to work well with that. There's a new logic cop, which I don't know exactly what this does, but it sounds kind of interesting. So let's do shape scatter. I think this has an ID. Yeah. So we can give this... Okay, so this is how we can like isolate things. So if we set this to like a constant, not a multiply constant, but just, I guess it'd be a mono. Everyone's Houdini looks different. Yeah. It's cool though. It's fun. What did I just put down? Not a mono. What am I? Yeah, constant. Jesus, I must have been typing that in wrong. Oh, but this has to be an ID. Can we do a mono to, yeah. Layer can produce IDs? Just the layer node by itself? Ah. Oh, whatever. Mono ID works. Should work too, right? Let me reset that. This has to be integers. Yeah, so this is how we can like isolate one. So nice. Okay. This is pretty nice. I think I had requested something similar to this. I don't have any idea how these bit shifts works, or like the, I guess, I mean, it runs off of the bitwise function. I guess we probably, do we even need this? Hold on, let's go back to this comparison. Do we even need this, or can we can just use this, right? We can. And we can also feed it a mask. That's interesting. What happens if you give it, can you give it multiple? Let's do a min function here. network type. That's what I was looking for. Let's do a clip. Try a different pattern. Yeah, I will here in a second. I just want to see if we can feed this multiple. I guess that, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Well, that's not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but what? Interesting. I don't know. Fractal noise or pattern, maybe? Like, as your input, you'd have to do, yeah. Here, we can give it a different, well, I guess it's not really going to matter. It should give us different IDs, right? The scatter seed doesn't give you a different ID? That's interesting. I don't have my random ID node moved over yet. I forget which one. You can like you can do this somehow. It's not. Is it ID to mono? No. One of these has like a different. Maybe it was the mono to ID. No. One of these has the ability to like resample kind of. I don't remember which one or how exactly to do it. Nope. At least I thought we could. I'm just playing around with some of the new stuff. I was trying to hook up a different ID into this B slot. Alex, why does the shape scatter, when you do the scatter seed, not change your ID? Should change the ID. Or can we change the ID? Why do you think the output node doesn't have any inputs in cops? What? The output node? Like this? Oh. Because I don't know. You can output multiple things. I don't know. That's a good question. Either way, we'll move on from this one. That's kind of this logic. It will be useful for some stuff. I'm not gonna, this bitwise stuff confuses me. Maybe an oversight, but you're technically not changing anything about the stamp. So is there one? Yeah, I mean, I get that. I don't know. That's why I made a ID randomized node. I haven't moved over all my OTLs yet. There's a cell pattern. I haven't looked at this node yet either. Most of the context has an output that is always the default when you get out of the network. This doesn't happen in cops. Wondering if it's a placeholder. We'll add inputs in the future. It's been like that for a couple of releases. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they'll change that behavior or not. Cell pattern. So this will be nice for creating like rock type textures. It's kind of like just a Voronoi thing. but nice nonetheless. Cellular noise. Are both of these new? They are. Cellular noise and cellular noise 3D. Can be the same. So I guess these are kind of the same, basically the same thing, huh? That's weird. These are like the same thing. Ooh, that's cool. This is like a circuit board type thing where my mind goes to with those. Configure stamps. Alex, you talked to me a little bit about this one. Should be interesting. So this works with the stamp points. We're gonna need some points, I guess. So let's do a SOP geometry. Just put a grid down. Drop down as stamp sprites. Another one without a little icon there. Okay, yeah, it just gives you the same thing. So let's see. There's also this new shape recipe that's nice. There's a lot of icons that are missing this release. Just across the board from cops. All right, so this basically works as a control for the stamp points. So you don't have to jump back and forth between cops, right? So this is pretty nice. So we should be able to wire in basically anything in here. I guess let's center that. So without this, nice. Because of complicated reasons. It's always complicated. So we can control all of this stuff now through this. What is this? Is this color just multiply by this? Is it like sampling these? This is hard to tell. I guess if we did a ramp. Let's do a ramp RGB. And let's set this to constant. Yeah, so gotcha. All right. So it just samples kind of at the position, right? It's kind of hard to tell. But that's a little bit what it looks like it does. Cool. So one of the things that does bug me about cops is that there's a lot of nodes, like a lot of nodes have a lot of things that could be exposed. I almost wish that they were like how we have like the preview material and we've got all these different inputs for everything. Like I wish that like almost everything was exposed, which I know is astronomically more difficult, but the exposing of things makes it super powerful. Like VOPs, yeah, whatever, Alex. All right, just like because there's the transform node, right? We've got a source and a mask. Like it'd be nice if we had other things exposed. We could drive it through other nodes. Vops used to scare you, of all things? Does Vex scare you? I feel like Vex would be the one that... Vex is the one that normally scares people. Oh, you said something about... I didn't realize the convol filter was new. Oh, yeah, there's the convol filter, and then there's the convolve 3x3. I was thinking the convolve 3x3. So the FFT you were saying is what drives this kernel? You were happier when Vex Wrangles appeared? You had to compile it when you started. When did you start with Houdini, man? I'm just going to pop both these in here. Oh, it's just used inside. So what is this? This just takes any sort of RGBA? Thank God you're here. All right, so 2011. Wow, you've been doing Houdini for a long time then, huh? All right, drop down a shape and put that into... So I'm assuming you meant this shape. Or no, it's changed. I don't know, whatever. Ah, so it takes an SDF. This looks like it's the right thing. Oh, the mono one? And then change the scale of the SDF shape. Oh. It's just super strung out. So kind of like, this is kind of like a blur, like a, what's the word? When you're rendering the, like the, yeah, bokeh, that's the word. It's like a bokeh. Okay. Cool. That is really fast. All right. You know what? This is something I haven't looked at all. The ocean spectrum. I'm assuming this ocean is going to drop down both. Weird that this is not on the right plane. There we go. So I assume we press play and we get some nice ocean. So is this just a preview? I wasn't really sure because we have like the ocean spectrum that we use in rendering. Well, I don't use it because I don't ever do that type of stuff, but you can use it in rendering. I don't know if it's supposed to be check the cusp. The cusp, what you mean? Yeah, there's the ripple solver. I do want to look at that at some point. So it's like the size. Can't go too high with this, apparently. And there's cusp attribute. Oh, gotcha. Nice. It's kind of like your foam. What do we get? Get like nothing out of that last input. You can use it with a 3D Perla noise and it makes some great looking fake swimming pool water. Oh, you're talking about the ripple, right? You should update. You were struggling in stops with the ocean today. I don't ever use the ocean stuff. So definitely don't recommend taking my advice on anything to do with that. Oh no, yeah, the height to caustics. That's something I haven't looked at yet either. All right. New G-Splat stuff. I kind of want to look at that at some point, but all right. So you said fractal, or sorry, the Perlin noise. We don't have a Perlin noise. It's under the fractal noise. How does the height to caustics work? I don't. There's so many nodes that are new. I just have forgotten about so many of them. You're a Perlin fanboy. So I'm assuming we would want to animate this. That's really fast. Even that's really fast. I guess that might be because of this. Recommend turning down octaves and turning signature on height to caustics RGB. One warning generated. Mm-hmm. This is cool. Octaves to 0 on fractal noise. We want them all the way down. But I kind of like having a little bit of weirdness in here. It's kind of cool. Let's set this. Oh, you can't really go. I guess probably roughness. Nope. It's your license. You can multiply it with some color too. All right, we'll leave that. What happens if we play now? Is this gonna? Okay, so it's definitely a lot slower now. Let's maybe change it to like 5. It's kind of cool. This is the default for this 0. Wow, there's a lot of stuff here. Very cool. Ooh, this is like the That's kind of cool. Did anybody remember the Pirates of Darkwater? I don't know what you're referring to. All right. So there's curl noises, curve animate. Oh yeah, there's the drop shadow. Let's do a shape. 90s cartoon. I don't remember that one. Drop shadow. Nice. This would be good for some different things. Could set this to mono. Can you output just the... Wait a minute. Oh, that's the input. Okay. Can you output just the drop shadow portion? I guess you would have to do like a subtract. Oops, not a subnumber. Toggle right there. Oh, yeah, I should read. But that's also, well, I guess I'd still want to, because I'm thinking, all right, sorry, what I meant to say was not the drop shadow only, but like the non-occluded part of the drop shadow, if that makes sense. That is not what I wanted to do. Add. Nope. So like this part right here. A little behind the stream regarding the render flag with the Archie. I always have a cheat sheet of keyboard shortcuts on the desktop to look up. Yeah. The new one is T. Well, actually, there's two new ones. You missed the start. So if we have like a geo, we can press T, and it sets your display flag, which looks wonky because I had that drop shadow set. And then if you're displaying a 3D object, if you're over your network view, press X, and you can toggle between your 3D view and the 2D view. Pretty handy stuff. So I guess, well, if I set this to white, and then we did a subtract. No. If this is the mask, I said I have to do a mono to RGB. Well, okay. What I'm thinking of for this is like you'd use this drop shadow to, there we go, to then drive something like where these caustics apply, if that makes sense. Right? So you could do some cool stuff with that. Like if you had, like obviously this is just like a heart, right? But if you use, like I think they showed like lily pads or something on the water or something like that, you could maybe do some cool stuff with that. I guess you would invert that, but I don't know. Whatever. I'd have to play around with it more. Oh, the fractal sample. This one. There's a terrain. Somebody was asking about terrains, or was talking about terrains earlier. The cobblestone one uses this one, I believe. Yeah, this is such a cool recipe. But this fractal sample drives this whole thing, which is pretty sweet. I actually want to look at kind of how they went about this. Cell pattern. I keep forgetting that it's a node that exists now. That's weird. What is this? I'm a little confused. How did we go from... We went from a cell pattern to the like fractal sampled one. It can be used like protection texture for light source and will fake caustics. Yep. Dude, the cobblestone is fun. Started plugging in every kind of pattern in, you can get some really interesting looking height fields. For sure. Fractal sample drives this in here. If we look at, or I'm displaying this, which is why I guess we get that. This is just a mask, so we have to... Do we have to preview this? Fractal all things. Yeah, the fractal sample's in here somewhere. I can't. There it is. I was like, where is it? Yes, fractal sample drives all this, because without this, you just have these kind of blobby looking stones, and then it fills in the rest of it. I am a bit confused by this. I don't know what this is doing. It doesn't look like it's doing anything. So this is... I don't know. The strata, the height field strata node. A little bit interesting. Love the fractal noise plus height to caustics tip for water. Using that for, yeah. Definitely pretty cool. And they had a really nice example of it in the like video. Oh yeah, the Julia fractals, super fun to play with as well. Someone is blaring their horn outside. There is quite a bit to this. Very cool. And this was, where was that flag sled? Right here. And then this is tileable, right? Yeah, that's super cool. Make tileable terrain patches. That's something I'm gonna have to think about. So I guess my first thought with the fractal sample was stones and then like sticks for like putting them onto things. This node is super interesting. So it's like the linearity in combination with the octaves control kind of how many repetitions you have. Very cool stuff. Oh, one thing. Yeah, I never looked at the UV shape. Let me just get these out of here. Never looked at the UV shape node. It's another one that I forgot that even existed. Ooh, that'll be cool. Cool stuff. Oh, we're going to be able to do a lot of different things with this. Some of these things were kind of hard to get with the previous set of nodes. It's like a dancing thing. All right, let's move on. There's also weaves and knits. I had started to make a little weave tool, which is nice. They've got that in here now. I wonder if they did the same thing that I did. Yep. Basically, very nice. Make all the baskets you want. Pretty cool. And then there's a net cop here as well. So I'm just kind of bouncing through nodes because there's a lot that I just haven't looked at yet. And I just want to at least look at some things here. Someone was saying on X the other that Dua Lipa kept posting the number 22 all week on social media. It's totally because of Houdini 22. She's got a song named after it, right? This is really satisfying the way that this moves through. I like that. It's kind of like chainmail. Doesn't seem to be doing anything. Oh, wow, there's a bunch of presets here. Wow, what does this look like on the inside? Isn't there, I feel like there was are there a whole bunch of different shapes in here? Is this oh, it's just the subnetwork. Some of these parameters just don't work properly in the net shape. If you go to the net shape category and then change it to Perl, those parameters should work better. Okay. Wow. This is quite the node. Using the trusty old stamp points. And your configure stamps node. Nice. Did you make this? Pearl. Oh, Nicola. Dude, he is just so talented. Nicola made all of the grunges as well. Nice. Very cool. Mass combine. Yeah. The you said something about the mass combine. This one's cool. I played around with this just a minute. For a minute. Just lets you combine your mass together. Oops. Whatever. That'll work. Yeah, the grunges are great. Super, super cool. They can be a little bit heavy though, I've noticed. So cable pack. So if you set stuff into this cable and then you can select your layers here and create a mask out of them, which is pretty cool. Interesting. And then this uses, Alex, this is what I was talking about. So you still have this error for that cop iteration, which is what I was getting, but it still like works. So I don't know what's going on with that. So it uses the cop iteration variable, and a lot of these, like the switch, use that cop iteration attribute. It still throws the error, but it still works. I don't know. The mask combine cop is really good for plugging into the baker. Yeah, the grunges are, some of them are pretty quick, but some of them are like, which one was it? I think it's moisture. I don't know. I always find it funny when you dive into these and they're like shape scatter 10 and shape scatter 12. And it's like, you've been playing around with this for a while. This one didn't seem too big. There was one that was really slow. I don't remember. Maybe it was the mold spots. I don't know. They're not like super large networks. I was also I think I was plugging it into the flow solver, and I was using a time shift after that, and the time shift seemed to be really kind of messing with it or slowing it down. What happened is Nicola made the grunges, but I had the task of optimize. Oh, gotcha. Well, there's a just in general, like you dive into a bunch of different things, and I feel like it's that way. I don't know. It's just interesting. So there's a lot of new nodes that have to do with the attributes. So I don't know. It's going to be pretty interesting to play with the attributes. What is this? Oh, you can just straight up set an attribute. That's interesting. This will be fun to play with for sure. That's interesting that the attribute doesn't wire directly in there. You need to, it wants a mono. I figured that would work. So is that where you do need that attribute insert? I don't really know what the point of this attribute insert is. Even this doesn't work. Input 0 does not have a class. What? Oh. No? Attribute wire is wrong? I don't know. Where can I check all the new features for version 22? Yeah, there is a what's new. So here, I'll just pull it up here. Go to side effects website. I guess we'll just go back here. Click on what's new here. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. What's new docs. And then you've got this page. And then you can go into the different categories and look at everything that is new. That is actually, that is a page that you should 100% check out, because there is a lot of stuff that is in there that isn't going to be super obvious. What is this supposed to take? I guess we have to set this to point. No? Oh, the size. We have to set this size. So I guess that's probably where you set that. Maybe? No? So you have to set this for... How many did this say? Yeah, so you have to... Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting to. So you have to do... What is it? How do we... Metadata attribute. How do we pull that? Can we... Is there a way that we can pull that directly from this? From the geometry? I'm assuming there is. I'm just probably being stupid about it. Probably in the geometry, right? You could extract P. Oh, with the attribute extract? I guess that makes sense. And then we set that to input. Wrong type or size. Okay. Point. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Okay, so you can do it that way. We still have that visualizer set that doesn't work. This is super frustrating. I hope they fix this in a daily build, because like that's very frustrating with the multiple GPUs. So that just then like initializes it, or I guess you have a value here. This would be a float. We would want a vector attribute here. Interesting stuff. So that's how that works. So there's also like this point. Wait, hold on. Is this point generate? Is this new? Is this one new? I don't remember. Yeah, since 22. I probably should have looked at this. No, that's an initial point to provide geometry. Oh, so this is kind of like a, well, let me not open my mouth before I say anything. Add additional points. Are we supposed to wire that into the reference, maybe? Interesting. I figured we would maybe be able to use this like an add node. Man, I wish I could. Oh, wait, we can. Points 12, 8, 7, 4. So it doesn't just. It would be nice if that would act as like an add node. Points per second. I guess you can set that. Nope, never mind. Is this just adding them at the origin? I think so. I think I can see one in there. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. What does those other parameters do? Point attribute. Every point has an entry attribute. This really seems like this is going towards pops. This seems like a particle source type thing. Is this used in the new Pyro stuff? Be the configure. I don't know if any of these things. These use the new shapes, I think, or the surfaces, whatever they're called. Okay, yeah, so they no longer use the points. Pyro, that is a lot. Lots changed in Pyro. If you guys, someone else earlier had asked about that. I meant to say that too. Pyro's changed quite a bit in 22. So play with that if you haven't already. Okay, yeah, so it just puts them in there. Interesting. And then there's the point delete as well, and the point merge. So this is where we would want to do this, I think. So let's do ramp mono. Want this as a point attribute. And we would want to set this to be like a constant, maybe. Does this go based off of? What does this go based off of? Let's see. I wonder if it's just based off of position. That color should be working. All right, well, I don't know why. Oh, there we go. So looks like it does go off of. Okay. What happened? Okay. Oh, sorry. I have to hit the. I guess this is 3D geometry, so I have to display there. I'm thinking this was a layer. So. Okay, that doesn't want to update. That's interesting. I don't know where. Okay, so this is outside of the one. So this is off of the X position then. And then, because that's what it is in space. Okay. So it's just purely based off of like physical space. Like if that makes sense. If I guess I can keep that there, press X. So think of this as like a cube, I guess. And then this is set to 1, right? So we're going to get that here. This is outside of the 0 to 1 range though. So I would have to do like a transform 3D. Scale this in just a little bit. And then we get this fully encompassing that now. And we could change. It's so weird that that doesn't want to display right. So I assume we could do this to vertical and we would get the same thing. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So then if we do that and we put this into an attribute extract now. And we set this to be that dead attribute. Okay, yeah, so it's an integer. What? That wasn't an integer, yeah. Float. What do you not like? Can't convert float attribute to integer. So is it's looking for an integer? Wrong type, okay. So this does confuse me a little bit. I guess we have to set that. No, it's not ID. It's weird that these are. Shouldn't this be mono? So it should be float. We should have float integer vector in here instead of these. How do we get to an integer attribute from a float? Is there a conversion? I guess we could set this to be an attribute, right? No, that wouldn't work. But we can't, so, okay, so Alex, you can't take this to a, Like this isn't an integer. But I can't get an integer out of this, which I would think would be ID. I guess. I guess we can do a mounted ID. Yeah, I'm putting a float into it. There we go. Well, yeah, kind of. It is a float, but it's not a float at the same time because it's just 0 or 1. Can I show how to model the details on a base mesh using cops? Like I create a base mesh and stops and do the rest of the modeling details and cops. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about like what, what's his name? The dude on Instagram that is doing some crazy stuff in cops. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to. That's going to be, I mean, I don't really have a setup for that right now. But you're just, I haven't actually fully figured it. Yeah, tiny bug bot. Yeah, I haven't fully figured out exactly how he's doing that. I think you're just you're UVing a mesh, subdividing it super dense, and then taking that and putting the details on it through cops. But I'm not exactly sure how he's doing that. Very cool stuff though, for sure. I've been watching and I've been enjoying seeing the stuff that he comes up with. All right, so then we've also got a point merge. So we can merge our points together. So let's maybe do another one of these and let's do this. What's up, Zach? Let's maybe take this part. And then we'll do this attribute extract with, we don't need this, point delete. I'm just playing around and making sure that these work the way I expect them to. Wait a minute. What did I have up here? Hold on. I guess that kind of works. All right, and then we can, uh-oh. All right, please hold. My mouse does this from time to time. I gotta unplug it and plug it back in. Give me just a second. All right, I don't know what happened. Sometimes my mouse just like dies. It's a wireless mouse, so I don't know why it's like dying, but sometimes it just doesn't work just randomly. I have to unplug it and plug it back in. Yeah, Tiny Bug Bot is doing some really cool stuff. Really, really cool. All right, what is going on here? Oh, I was deleting the wrong part. Right? There we go. Interesting. It's kind of weird. That's going to take some getting used to figure out how, I mean, I understand how it works, but it's going to take some getting used to. No, my mouse is not wireless. It's wired. I don't know why it happens. You have this keyboard, touchpad, gamepad, wireless thing, and it drives me crazy. It's so annoying when things just disconnect randomly. Yeah, no, it's not wireless. Having things just stop working is one of the most frustrating things. All right, were there any other? I guess there's this points from blobs thing that's kind of cool. Sorry, I was thinking there. I don't know exactly. Oh, well, actually, you know what? Now that I think about this, hold on. Alex, I told you that it would be nice to have kind of like a scatter thing. And that's actually what this is now that I think about this. Let's see. So hold on, give me a minute. I'm getting a phone call. I need to take this. Give me just a second. All right, sorry about that. Anyway, so let's take like a fractal noise here. I'm gonna set our display flag on this thing. And then actually, we're gonna do a adjacency setup here. Welcome. Never late. Never too late, I should say. All right, let's move these. So adjacency. Not extrapolate, sorry. Adjacency. Attribute sample. Adjacency. I keep thinking that these work differently. All right, so let's do not a fractal noise, but a fractal noise 3D. Wire this into our position here. And now we have this. All right, you're using wired mouse or wireless mouse? Oh, wireless mouse, okay. You often lose Bluetooth. I don't have a Lenovo issue and my mouse is wired and I still have issues. This is the only mouse I've had do that. I don't know what's up with it. It's extremely obnoxious though. All right, so we can then wire this into points from blobs and turn off. Oh no. Maybe this isn't gonna work how I thought it would. So with just a regular fractal noise, we get the points on here. That's weird. Huh. I'm surprised this doesn't work in 3D. That's odd. So if I take this and then transform, that works. But that works. So it like has the ability to. Why does it not? I guess actually my threshold's probably too low. Sorry. I should have caught that. Sorry, that was just me being dumb. Is there points from Blob 3D? No, so this is going to be essentially like a scatter, but it would be nice if we had a control for how much, because we don't have like we just have like the blobs. Does the amplitude? No. Yeah, it'd be nice. This is kind of like a scatter node. It'd be nice if we had the ability to control the number of particles. Thanks for all the Houdini 22 videos. I'm still postponing the switch because I bumped into a few bugs immediately at first run. Yeah, there's definitely some bugs. What have you ran into? I'm curious. Oh, I guess I should show something that I ran into. We'll do that maybe in a minute. Remind me to show you guys one of the things that's different about Houdini 22 with cops and rendering and color spaces that I ran into. Height can look very different in different viewports or renders, the game engines too. Let's tame them. Yeah. Cool techniques, how to make a FIFA animation like 2026. Geometry nodes, they're just not, they're not it. I played around with them quite a bit, and man, things just don't flow in ways that make sense. Paint mask in particular didn't work right for me. The brush is occluded by geometry. Like the Paint 3D node? Okay. So I'm curious now. Can we take this? Do these store? I wonder if we have. I wonder if we could take this, get their UV position, sample that, and then put them back onto our rubber toy. Maybe let's just play around with it. So, unpack. So we want. This doesn't give us that. Which doesn't really matter. Well, yeah, no, this gives us this is our UV position. Right? This should give us, well, I don't know if that's what we're going to want. I don't know. Let's plug it in here and see what happens. Let's call this UV. Let's set this to be all UV. And then, wait, is this what I want? I want their position. This is not. Let's do a rasterize. Rasterize setup. And we want to put this into UVs, right? And then rasterize geo. And we want this to be our original position. This should be not mono, but this should be RGB. I guess this is probably the same, almost the same thing. Yeah, is what we're getting here. We'll try it out. We'll try both. So once we've got not UVs, but we want our can we let's set this to original position. Can we then put these in easily? I guess we would want to do, can we overwrite? I wonder if we can override our position. I wonder if that'll work. Or if we have to do it through like OpenCL, which we could do. This should be a vector. Bam. Aha! Did we do it? It looks a little, it looks like it might have worked. Nope. Let's set this. Can we give these a color? Geometry, or sorry, attribute. And then just like a, I don't know, it doesn't even matter. Fractal noise with the RGB. Oh, I don't have a name. CD. And we want this to be RGB. So you can we do, is there like a merge? I want to be able to see both of them. I guess we could do like a switch, kind of. There's not, what is an add merge? It's not gonna work. You finally jumped into Cops. Welcome. Cops is a lot of fun. I really enjoy playing with it. It has nothing to do with them at the S, but if you checked out the Highfield Cops, they're awesome. Yeah, I have looked at them a little bit. I haven't jumped into them a whole lot, but they are pretty interesting. And yeah, they're so something that I found, at least with the Highfield stuff and 22, it seems a little bit easier to get better looking erosion out of 22. I don't know if that's just me, but I seem to have a easier time getting better looking erosion. Let's merge these in SOPs and see what. Aha. They seem to be on the geo. We did it. This is actually pretty cool. So you can create, that's actually pretty, kind of pretty nice. I'm liking this. And then you can just change up your, does this give us the same thing here? Not exactly. Did our points, oh, our points were scattered outside of. So we would actually probably want this. Otherwise, we would have to multiply this fractal noise by, we would need to do a channel unpack. I just drag these out of the way. Or a cable unpack. You looked into that, and it's related to the erosion of rock over thousands of years. Yeah, the erosion model is better. It's definitely gotten better, but I struggled quite a bit up until 22 to get some decent looking results. And I just played around with it a little bit, and I got what I felt like was a lot better results. Apex is a freaking animal. That is a beast of itself, man. I don't even begin to know where to start with Apex. I would love to know what I'm doing with that, but I just have no clue what's going on there. But it looks super, like it looks like it's coming together quite well. Okay, so this is more what I was thinking, because we would want to get rid of that. So we don't want to spawn any points, or we wouldn't want to spawn any points somewhere where there's not texture, like in the padding, I guess you'd call it, of the UVs. You wouldn't want to spawn points in there. Yeah, so these should now give us the same thing. Or not. I guess there might be a little bit of bleed. A little bit of a difference. Because there's some blurring that's going on. But either way, this is pretty cool that we can then spawn points, and then if we want to change it up, we can just, offset this and we get different patterns. The only thing that I don't like is I don't know that there is a control. I wish we had a amount from this points from blob, because I don't think, even if we did like a brightness, it doesn't control really the number of points that are spawning. It would be nice if we had the ability to control exactly how many points we're spawning. Does this even... Okay, yeah, no. Yeah, we still get some differences there. It would be nice to have that ability, because one of the things that I would like to see in cops is just a straight up scatter node, and this is kind of like that, but not exactly. That's what I was thinking about earlier, Alex, if you're still around. It's the Turing patterns. I don't know anything about this one either. Can we just feed this whatever? This is what kind of looks like. Yeah. Yeah. This looks like the reaction to fusion. This is what I was thinking about. This is cool. What if we give these other ones? Ooh. This is kind of fun. This one follows the contours of the original shape. If you put in the butterfly, you can make out that it's a butterfly. Well, let's put in the butterfly. Ooh, and it gives got the color as well. You're telling me this looks like a butterfly? No, yeah, this is cool. It's like a sort of like your reaction diffusion stuff, but not a simulation. I like it though. One thing that there's also, so there's these test images, which I still can't get to work, other than the butterflies. Oh, this uses the time pack. Actually, you know what? So I made a video on time pack, and then someone else had commented that you can use it for some cool stuff. Like if you plug in a contact sheet after this is cool. Which I didn't even think about. You can see like all of your different parts of your time pack here. So if we want to set this to like relative, I don't know this. Okay, yeah. So this goes from 1 to 7. Never mind. How does this? I haven't played around with this much, or like at all. Wait. Oh, I did change this. So I was like, why did this change? I didn't mean to to change that. All right, let's leave it like this, and then we can plug this in here. And then you get some different butterflies. Cool stuff. Very cool. But yeah, so you can use this time pack for wiring into a contact sheet. And then someone said something else too. What did they say? I'm gonna have to even look at the. Oh yeah, if you have like parameters based on time. So like let's do, screw it, let's just do a shape. I don't know. And then we can pop this into a reaction diffusion. Right. So we get like a reaction diffusion situation. You can grab something like this. And then instead of, so let's say we want to grab 10 frames. Instead of being a step of 1, we can do like well, I thought we could do like 10 steps. Oh yeah, we have to increase this. That's right. Sorry. There, and then we can see, you know, what it looks like. So you could do this with like a time shift node or something too. And then like if you had parameters that were randomized, you could bake out like a bunch of different variations, which is kind of cool. Very interesting stuff. Like if you're building a whole like network, right? Like a texture network, and then you just put like $F for the seed or something like that, then you can wire this into that time pack, and then you get a bunch of your different variations. Can you take a look at the SOP invoke in geometry attribute layer and stuff, and does it manipulate 3D directly? Take a look at the texture material lop and image filter, as those are awesome. Oh, I haven't looked at the image filter. But yes, the SOP invoke, all the SOP invoke does is just allows you to work inside of like SOPs. So like we've got our test geometries, right? We'll just keep up with the repertoire. If we wire this in here, let's say we wanted to break it down to just its points. We can add an add in here. Set this to delete geometry, but keep the points. And then boom, we've got our geometry here with just our points. And then the geometry attribute layer, the geometry attribute from layer. We've looked at this a couple times. So yes, it does take it just takes whatever. So we can type in like a fractal noise and then set this to RGB. And then we can set this to CD. And then you can see that we've now colored our points. So yes, it does work directly on geometry. And then we've got all these new presets then. So this is kind of at the edge of the screen, so I'll pop this up. But we've got some awesome new stuff in here as well. So maybe that one. And then we can use the little ramp generator and bring that down. Get some different things. Kind of cool. But yes, that works directly on the thing. That's actually what we were doing up here. If I jump back up, that's what we did with this. We took our rubber toy geometry, did the adjacency stuff with a fractal noise 3D, multiplied that just by our mask to make sure that we're only spawning points where our UV islands are. Did the points from blobs, and then wire that into a geometry attribute from layer with our original position, which is what this gives you, or this. This is just a rasterized setup with it set to UVs and then the original position in there. And then, so that writes the original position as an attribute. Then we can do a attribute extract with an attribute insert. And then we want to insert our original position as our position here. So we go from our points being in like texture space here to them now being in 3D space. And then you can add we added a color here. So hopefully that makes sense. And then you asked about the texture material lab. I think we've covered a lot of different stuff here in COPS. So you can probably, there's a lot of stuff that's been added. Let me save this. I'll show you guys a bug that well, it's not really a bug, but a change that I've found. I did submit a bug report for it. Let me just open up that file real quick. Hold on a moment. Has to do with OCIO, and I use the texture material library LOP. Yeah, the new COPS stuff. COPS, since it came out, I've just been infatuated with it, I guess you could say. It's just so much fun to play with, and there's some stuff that I would love to show right now, but I'm gonna save that I'm working on. I haven't fully got it figured out, but I'm on my way. We'll just say it's gonna be pretty cool. Some of the stuff that you can do with the new stuff in 22. And actually what I was just showing with those points and putting them back onto the geometry and stuff actually is a pretty good, I guess, kind of like sneak peek, I guess. Because I'm going to use that for some things. But anyway, so the texture, okay, first of all, the bug. There is a different, it's not really a bug. There is a difference between your render view and your mplay with color. So I'm just going to render this out real quick, but I am in Aces right now. So we'll let this fire up and render. So if I come up here, come to edit, preferences, if I look at OCIO, I've got this set to Aces CG, and this is Rec 709, right? So that's exactly what this is set to. sRGB, Rec 709. And same for my viewport here, Rec 709 Aces. So if I go ahead and render this Karma XPU, let's actually just look through my camera, just so it's the exact same. So you can see here that there is a very distinct difference in color, right? Hopefully that should be pretty apparent. Why? May be the question that you're asking. Why is this different when the color settings are different, or not any different? I mean, and this is something that was the same in 21. Like if I set the same scene up in 21, I'm pretty sure that these would be the exact same, if I remember correctly. The issue is that in my materials, my material X image here, this is using that OP colon. So if I jump in here, my CopNet, I'm referencing this texture. And I was trying to get this save path to work. Doesn't seem to work real well. But yeah, so I'm referencing this texture, this color, as our output. So our colors are different because of that, because it doesn't know how to treat the file, I guess, or like the evaluated color, right? So if you bake this to disk, which I have, which just is these settings, right? If I come back into our material and change this now to, I think it was comp, right? Yeah, it should be this one. And I hit render back here, render and play. Yes, so they're the same. The color settings are the same. So now we should be seeing kind of the same thing. So it knows how to treat that. So if that makes any sense. So this wasn't the same. This was different in 21, I believe. So just be aware of that. If you're using the OP colon, you'll need to actually write it to disk instead of using the OP colon in order to get your viewport to look the same as your final render. Okay, so while you're in Solaris, check out the new atmospheric parameter and Karma physical sky. Yeah, I can do that here in a second. So the other question was about this texture material library, which is basically, I hit the wrong flag there. It's basically the same thing as like the quick material. Yeah, quick surface material. So a lot of the same things here, but you would have to go and click set or create, and then you'd create this CopNet to use this quick surface material. With this texture material library, it's basically the same thing, except for you just have it in a USD material now as well. This is directly in COP. So like I've got all my fractal noise, reaction diffusion, flow, all that different stuff, even the attribute stuff. So it's basically just a CopNet disguised as a texture material library node that you can then assign your materials with. You get some crazy glowing effects in Karma now from having colors way over 1 from cops. Yeah. Well, that's the whole point of cops, right? Is it's not supposed to restrict you, I guess, because you can use it to, like, if I were to set a, well, actually, you know what? This doesn't have a displacement. That's interesting. I wonder if that's what that true displacement is. Let's give it a go. Bump height. Let's check that on. And actually, we're going to need to, let's crank this up. I'm actually going to need to subdivide this. This should give us a decently subdivided mesh. And then I think we need to set this. This is new too. When you drop down the karma, it sets out this render pass and this karma render settings and the ROP now, instead of just the render settings and the ROP. Any plans to do Karma 22? There wasn't a lot that was changed in Karma, actually. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it definitely did. It never limited you as far as what you could output. Let's see. We got to go to geometry and shading, dicing, set up our camera. Not a lot was changed in Karma, so I don't think that I'm gonna do just like an overview. At least I don't think. I suppose I could take another look at it, but maybe. So now if we do this, let's just, you know what? We should probably, so this doesn't look like crap. Let's use the adjacency. And I'm going to turn our roughness down, maybe even. So it looks like maybe this is giving us a actual displacement. Trying to decide which one I wanted to use, XP or CPU. Okay, where's the new, there's a new camera lock icon, I think. These are your scene lights. Where is my camera lock? Materials. They changed the, because if I move my camera, I just go out of it. Third from the top, blinker lock camera. Okay. There's a hotkey for this? Control backslash. I never knew that. Yeah, so we're getting some like actual displacement. Let me turn that on. Yeah, I don't know why they needed to rework that one. I liked my little lock. Okay, yeah, so we do have displacement here. I didn't know that. I didn't know that we had true displacements in that. All right. Wondering why Karma still does not support transmission scattering in the standard OpenPures. I don't know. I like got somewhat deep into a project, not super deep, but like I had all my geo and everything set up and I was in the shading stage. And then I realized that there was no transmission scattering. And that was the end of that project. I thought we had it. Houdini is an operating system. I don't think that's gonna happen. All right, physical sky. I wanted to take a look at. You just bypass that. All right. You said something about what the atmospheric parameter in Karma physical sky. This one? I feel like CPU might be better. here. Do we not have a, I guess we'll probably have to increase. Am I blind? Where did my thing go? I don't know where. I don't know why it just got lost on that thing. Okay. Let's see. Let's increase this. There you go. Best software in the world. Only software complex FCC. Yeah, Houdini makes. I don't know. A lot of people struggle with it, but I've always found it to be pretty easy. Where is our? Oh, there it is. Okay. It's like, where's our sun at? Suppose I should look at it while I'm adjusting, right? First time seeing Flippy skinless. I guess it kind of does look like he's been just skinned. I'm not really making anything. Someone wanted to do take a look at the atmospheric mode on the physical sky, so I was just playing with that. We also looked at the texture material library. I used Blender when I first started many years ago, and then moved over to Cinema 4D pretty quickly. Cinema 4D is really easy to learn, but again, like you just can't get the complexity that you can with Houdini, it seems, in my opinion. Yeah. Physical sky. Super nice. Cinema 4D Vertex maps made you switch to Houdini. They're fun, right? This is how the recipe of Flippy dumplings is getting born live. All right, let me pull up the docs here again. Let's flip over to the Karma one. Actually, hold on. I know what we're going to look at. We got to go back to our material library. And there is a new shader in here. It's the Flakes 2D and 3D shader. I haven't looked at this at all. But yeah, we've got these flakes here. So we can control their, that seems like a really large size for 0.01. Let's take a constant. You've also seen a new bump blend and tangent rotate nodes. Do you know of any other Material X libraries other than the AMD one? No, I do not. There is some that come in the linker, right? They've made that work, not the library. The linker too, I've submitted a bug report for this. Actually, you know what? Now I think about it, I never answered them when I should do that. I never responded to them. I didn't send them what I needed to, as I was at work. There's the catalog here that has some stuff in here. You start from Blender, then Cinema 4D, finally Houdini, but only drawback is not much tutorials. Like, there is definitely a lot less tutorials out there for Houdini than there are Blender, but what are you going to do? We'll get there. So we could plug this into here, and then into the base color. And this needs to do a constant, or sorry, not a constant, but a ramp. Boom. There, and then we've got some things in here, and then we could set these to, I don't know, some random thing. Sure. Houdini has the best documentation out of any software that I've ever used, by far. It's not even close. No, yes, this is effects. I was fortunate enough to win the tutorial contest, and so one of the perks of winning was I got an effects license for a year. Yeah, they also, yeah, they'll say like indie in here on the node network. What else is in here? Ooh, coat. Color parameters can now have values greater than 1. Interesting. We did a lot of just like looking through some nodes. Oh yeah, there's the ambient occlusion distance stuff, which was in Houdini, and then it got taken out, or was available in Karma, and then it got taken out. I probably have to feed this a normal, right? Material looks normal. Nope. There we go. Although I feel like this should be, and we could put a ramp. Yes, the AO and distance. I don't know. I'm not getting a lot of good AO out of this, though. I would expect to see more of this showing up. We gotta like bring down the cone angle. That's really like the only place that we're getting it. Which seems a little weird to me. Maybe this isn't the best geometry for it, but then the distance, karma distance. No, these are Houdini specific, by the way. So don't try to throw these into a different software. All right, distance. Is this distance to camera? Let me look at this. Again, part of the issue with multiple GPUs. There we go. Traces sample rays around the shading normal and returns to the minimum average error distance. This is distance to nearby surfaces. This sounds more like the AO node than the AO node. Interesting. Yeah, it kind of functions like AO. I thought it was going to be like a distance from camera or something. This is like a more, I guess I probably shouldn't have. I think the redshift one works the same way. Good for dirt, yeah. I think all the material creation stuff in Material X can be done in the material lot, texture material lot. Can it be? I don't think. No, this is just no, the texture material library lot is for cops specific stuff. Ooh, someone else had asked about the light filters. Or not the light filters, but just the filters. Image filter. And then there's the new Karma light. I guess there's more in this than I thought. More changes to Karma than I thought. Okay, let's see. Let's go back to maybe this. And then we said image filters. I haven't messed with these at all yet. And actually, like at all. Let's add one in. I don't know if we need to do any of this, or if we need to do any AOV stuff. Oops. That's not what I wanted. Just gonna add a glow in. And does it matter where we have to put these? Cop height field as initial tool in Karma, image output filter, enable filter premise. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Cop height field as initial tool in Karma, image output. In the Karma render settings, image output, filter, enable filter premise. Oh, is that where we have to put this thing at? Does that create anything actually? Yeah, where does that go? Oh, it's under the lights thing. No? Yeah, okay, so we have to set something here. What do we have to... It's gotta be... Oh, image filter. There we go. Probably just drag in the scope. Nope. This. Or does this need to come after? I know some of these are weird about the location of them. And then there's like a viewport setting, right? Or there used to be. I don't know. This doesn't seem to be working. This one does. So the glow was working. I just don't have the brightness turned up enough, maybe. And my glow threshold. Yep, there we go. Glow threshold wasn't set low enough. So we have to set that here and here, right? So if we take that out, we're screwed. Yep. So then we set this back. Do we just do the scope? This whole image filter scope? No. It's got to be this specific thing. That's interesting. Okay. I never played with these in 21. I know they've existed. These are kind of quick too, right? This one's cool. This is like your post effects and like other things. Can I overcrank these? I can. Nice. Nice. Blurry. It's pixelated now because you can't. It's not safe for TV to see all of Flippy's insides. We got Starglow. This will be a new one. This is because of the new Starglow cop. The little notches under the sliders. What do you mean? Little notches. Oh, these? That's because of the type of parameter it is. If I were to, which one is that? Oh, it's not going to show us. This is going to be like a logarithmic one. So as I increase this, it gets way bigger. It's a logarithmic scale. Give me just a moment here as well. Okay. Yeah, so this is a logarithmic scale. That's what those little things are. You notice them with playing with Vellum yesterday. Starglow is super nice. You know, it's a very common thing, I guess, to put in comp, courtesy of Alex. There's lots of settings for it too. You can really dial it in to just how much of everything you want. Uh-oh. Oh, no, there we go. Glimmer. Oh, okay. I see what it's doing. Get out of vignette now. Not gonna work well on this one, but nice. Tone map. What is tone map gonna give us? Oh, you can just overexposed. So I'm assuming that these things all work in. Oh yeah. So order matters for sure. More star glow, yeah. Let's crank it all the way up. Ultimate star glow. I broke it. There you go. All right. I don't know what that word is. Effulgent? I've never heard that word before. Oh yeah, there's new fractals too. Sun, literally, yeah. They're new compositing filters. They just work differently now. There are these image filters. So, well, I guess the star glow is new, but they're part of like your chain. So you take your image filter, you plug it in here, somewhere in here, and then you set the prim on your render settings under image output filters. You set this prim. Don't put the scope, put the prim underneath it into the filter prim, and should be good. I guess you can select it there. That's nice. I didn't. Can you create one? Ah, I guess you can. Nice. So it'll just create it for you. Sweet. Good to know. Oh, image filter 1. What was I? Oh yeah, the fractals. Actually, let's turn these off. I guess I will need this one. Okay, well, guess we're gonna crash. Oh no, yep, no, we did crash. Please hold. I seem to open Houdini a little bit quicker too, I've noticed. With 22, it's at least a little bit faster. And I just lost all that because I wasn't saving, which is fine. So we can jump back into this one and then fractal 2D and fractal 3D. I guess they're the same. They're just different. One's going to take your position. If you guys don't know, I guess, how to manipulate these, we take our position, feed it into there, we do a material X multiply, do a material X constant or whatever you want to do. I'll just put one in here. You can just affect it through that as well. Let's set this to be a vector 3. And we can control the scale. So that's like a scale. And if we do an add, we can offset. That's how you mess with those. This doesn't seem too much different than some of the other nodes. All right. Anything else new? Hex tiled image. Didn't we already have the hex tiled image? I thought we already had that. Tirlex lat long image. That one's new. Hex tiled normal map is new. for sure. I think these were in here. Some stuff gets backported. Oh, no, it was Karma hex tiled texture. So we've got two different ones now. So we've got a hex tiled image and then we've got a hex tiled texture. So this was Karma specific. So I guess this maybe replaced. It's kind of replacing that. I wonder if this one's marked for, what's it called? Deprecation. Doesn't say anything about it. Yeah, it should be the same thing. I could plop them on a grid or whatever. Or put them into this image. Is that going to work, actually? I guess we probably need to do that. Is there a file? There's not a... Yeah. I don't like that you can't just wire things into... into here. Is this the same output? I guess this is the same output, isn't it? Whatever. How did I learn all these and know when? And when is the documentation? Going through the notes is enough to learn. You just got to play. I mean, as you work more, you kind of, there's some things that just kind of like work similar. It's just experience, I guess, is really the answer to that, I guess. I don't know. The documentation's super good. So if you like run into issues, typically the documentation for normal Houdini is super good. The documentation for Material X, this is pulled straight from the Material X like spec. So this is not gonna be the Houdini people writing the documentation. And so that's why it's a little bit different and not nearly as good. Karma hex tile is much more reach and features. Hope it stays along with the hex triplanar. Hex triplanar is probably not going. Actually, both of them are probably not going anywhere. But they put this in here, no doubt. Well, they updated the spec, so that's what came with it, right? But this will work across applications. So this Karma one is specific to Karma and will only work in Houdini. So it's not going to transfer, because that's kind of the point of Material X, right? Is you're supposed to be able to transfer between applications. But with the hex-tiled triplanar and the hex-tiled Karma versions, you can't transfer those. So yeah, these work very, very similar. This is supposed to kind of try to get rid of the seams of textures, which not doing that job. I don't know what this is supposed to do. Yeah, so I guess it's, sorry, that's because I rotated it. I shouldn't have. Well, I thought it was because I rotated it. I guess these would be, yeah, these seams are because of just how it's, the geometry is set up, or the UVs are set up. Oh, weird. You get some interesting stuff with this. over cranking some values. Yeah, you're right. This is directly in the viewport. I didn't even think about that. Yes, it's so nice to be able to just do this stuff all in the viewport and not have to render everything out. You hope that they add some presets for Karma and Cops to start with material creation, the way Redshift does. Well, I mean, they kind of do. That's what the AMD material library is, or like this, the material linker here, this catalog here. That's kind of what these are. Is just like presets, right? And then, well, yeah, that's kind of what that is. All right. Well, there are a lot of different things. Gaussian splats. I that's a whole thing. They look cool, but that's a whole thing I'm not going to jump into today. What else? Oh, yeah, there's God, there's just a lot. Every time I look at things, there's a lot. I do want to look at actually the remesh, quad remesher. I should open 21 and just see the difference. I already tell that this looks better. Let me just do that. Houdini 21. That loads up. This looks a lot better. I feel like. I think we had some pretty, I would say, major issues with Flippy and the quad remesher with 21. This looks like it's a lot better. Yeah, rigging some splat with there's they're gonna be able to do a lot of really cool stuff with the splats, but I don't have any experience with any of that stuff. And I know you can train your own. I've been hearing people talking about how they take a little bit to train. I don't know if anybody has played around with it at all. I'd be interested to know if that is something that takes a while. Oh yeah, and then there's also this walk-on surface, which looks super cool. I don't really know what this is going to create. Oh, you just do have to put in points. Okay. That thing's can be fun to play with. All right, let's jump in to 21 real quick and let's do the same thing. So rubber toy and then the quad remesher here. Oh no, I guess they are kind of about the same. I thought that we had some bigger issues with the way that it worked. So I guess there's I don't know. This little AI camera lets you load models right on the camera as a depth sensor. I've seen those things. Those are pretty cool. You might be able to. That'd be interesting if you could make those directly on the camera. Velocity not found on second input. see if we can take a look at this. Why this should be. Let's do one of these other ones. We don't want to add, actually. We want to set, probably. No. We don't want this. We want this 0 centered. That's what it really is. All right. Yeah, that gives you some cool stuff. Very cool. This would be a fun node to play with. Get some cool stuff with that. Yeah, look at that. You get this nice kind of like curl almost. Lots of stuff that you could do with that. Let's see. Quad remesh, UV relax. Oh yeah. Extrude volume stop is now compilable. Cool. There's also some interesting like examples here. Curve animate. That one's gonna be interesting to mess with. Implicit surfaces. That's what they use for the new Pyro stuff. Oh yeah, and the subdivision surfaces. These are cool. This is nice. I don't even remember how to enable the subdivision surface, but pretty cool. This is all the height field stuff. Important note with the height fields that you have to actually like export them. Like here, let's just actually let me drop down the height field copnet. Nope, that was the height field convert cop. There we go. So terrain, sandy rock. I'm not gonna build out a full terrain. I just want to show this. All right, so there's this height field 2 geometry node, which is very misleading. Because this does not actually give you geometry. If I jump back out here, I should have stayed there. If I look at this, we still have a height field. We have to convert this with the height field convert. So stuff is still in SOPs, right? So yes, it's in COBs, but it's still in SOPs here. And so now you have actual geometry. So this is just not actual geometry, but it allows you to like preview stuff, I guess, I think is the point. There you go. You got those new display flags. So yeah, so without that, just have that, and you can add in other layers and stuff too. The subdivision is feature-rich, missing for modeling in Houdini. Yes, I agree. Glad to see that that's in there. You want to try it with the new mesh train in Unreal? I've heard people talking about that. I don't know. I've seen the new mesh train stuff in Unreal, but I haven't played with it. I don't really jump into Unreal anymore, but it looks pretty cool. Yeah, you can use little height map stamps, right? You can use like geometry too and like cut out little like pieces from your stuff. Yeah, you probably can. Probably can just stamp away. I'm not sure what you mean. Is this the point? I think it's UV. vertex. I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Oh, okay. Sorry, it went over my head. Where did my thing go? Yeah, neural terrain generate. So lots of kind of like neural nodes making their way into Houdini, which is kind of interesting. But, ooh, particles and NPM. Oh yeah, there's new, yeah, I forgot about this. There's new particle like examples. I love fireworks. I know a lot of people don't like fireworks, but not me. Big fan. And then there's new magic effects too, which is cool. These will help people get started. I like it. I like it a lot. That's really all of them. NPM now works with height fields. I was a collision object. Ah, interesting. That is all for particles and NPM. NPM was getting a lot of updates there for a little bit. Anyways, I think that is probably gonna wrap up the stream. My throat's starting to kind of bother me a little bit. I'm not used to talking for hours on end, but I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. Is there any questions, I guess, real quick, over like anything that we went over or anything? I still got the project file from everything. Fireworks with my first particle flow system in 3ds Max. I don't even know. Particles are just fun to play around with. Yeah, I'll be jumping into more stuff for sure. Like I said, there's some cool stuff that I'm working on. They've added some other stuff that I did not cover today. Didn't cover it on purpose because I want to do what I want to do with it. Because if I fail, then nobody knows what I was actually planning. No, it's a little bit of a complex thing, but some of the stuff that you can do now is pretty sweet. When's the next stream or new tutorial? Yes, I don't stream consistently. It's just whenever I can. New videos I come out basically every week. I try to get one out every week. I don't know if I will get a second out this week or not, but I will. Actually, I don't want to promise anything, but I will definitely have one out next week. Maybe a couple next week. Usually, when the new versions of Houdini drop out, I try to get some things up rather quickly. That way, people can kind of play with the new stuff, and if they have questions, they have somewhere to go to ask them. Become a regular Twitch streamer. I would love to stream regularly, but the times with I don't do this for a job. This is just something I do for fun. So the times that I have available are not necessarily the best or the most available, but I do enjoy it. You can just go on to get Houdini for free. You can go onto their website and download the apprentice version, and then you can learn all you want through there. Height field, noise, terrace, erode, strata, fractal, add, mono, tar, RGB, visualize. Yep. But yeah, streaming it can eat up a lot of time, but it's fun. But also, like, it's hard to like plan stuff out too. Like a lot of the stuff that I just like experiment with is stuff that would never make it in a video, just because it's not what I would consider a complete like thought or anything. You have a lot of friends who stream regularly. I used to. I don't. Some of them stopped streaming. Some of them I don't talk to as much anymore, just because life. You could just go on a stream and make weird stuff in cops. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun to hang out and talk to people and build stuff and discover things together. Like the attribute stuff earlier and like transforming it back to from kind of image space back to onto our geometry was fun. So does the apprentice version can not export, but there's some like limited rendering and stuff that you can do with that. But that's your option. We're not gonna endorse any sort of other stuff. That's not Houdini Indie is like one of the best deals in all of 3D software. The only one that's probably better than that is Blender, and that's just because it's free. But Indie is where you want to be at. Yeah, grab Indie. But anyways, yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Taking a look at some of the new stuff. I haven't looked at most of those new nodes before, so it's nice to actually get in and be able to look at stuff. I get to look through stuff right for videos, but I don't. It's more focused, I guess. So I got to like focus on one thing, and then I record the video, and then I got to edit it, and upload it, and so that takes a decent amount of time as well, right? So it's nice to be able to just hop in and just kind of look at things free without having to really like focus on necessarily building something. Although we kind of like showed a workflow or two. I have not connected Claude to Houdini with MCP. I know that they said that is something that you can do, but I haven't messed around with it. There's lots that I haven't messed around with in Houdini. It's such a massive software. So, but anyways, thank you guys for hanging out. I'm gonna hop off now and go rest my voice. I will. I don't like I said. I don't know if I'll have another video up this week or not. I'll try to get one out if I can. If not, I will have one out next week, and we'll continue on with checking out the new Houdini stuff. So it'll be more fun. I've got some fun things planned that I want to try out. Hopefully they work out and I can get them up on YouTube and stuff, and we can all have fun together. But like I said, thank you guys for hanging out. You guys have a good day. If you make any fun stuff with Houdini 22, then jump in my Discord and show me what you make. But have a good day, guys.